Good morning and welcome to Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. As part of Circle City Broadcasting's pledge to focus on family and community, this show speaks directly to local entrepreneurs and small business owners to help educate, inform, and provide necessary information to develop the skills to build businesses that support families, staffs, and adds to our communities. The information comes from successful business owners, local leaders, industry experts who live and work and have vested interests in this community. Most of our segments are one-on-one conversations shot on location. Our goal is to provide useful and compelling content that inspires individual confidence and builds on the community of stakeholders working together to secure equity, wealth, and prosperity throughout the state. Our segments remain the same: getting started, thoughts on accessing capital, what's happening this week in business, accounting and bookkeeping, running your business day to day, and an industry focus. And we close with a success story each hour. Throughout the show, you'll see a QR code that takes you straight to our website where you'll find all the segments. And while you're there, we encourage you to subscribe to our growing weekly newsletter. Comes out every Tuesday. Also, listen to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Here's what's ahead this hour on Business Equity and Opportunities. Find out the connection between the Vonnegut Museum and a popular Bloomington festival. See how new simulation technology is supporting and growing careers in nursing. Jane King unpacks what's happening with Indiana companies on the New York Stock Exchange. We share exciting news from the National Association of Women Business Owners and a special conversation with the founder of Sister Soldiers. The 55th Earth Day is this week, making it a fine time to visit the local office of the Nature Conservancy, an idea for an organization to support ecologists started back in 1915 and officially incorporated as the Nature Conservancy in 1950.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
My name is Esmé Barniskis. I'm the Volunteer and Events Specialist with the Indiana chapter of the Nature Conservancy. The Nature Conservancy is a global nonprofit. We work in about 72 different countries across the globe, and our mission is to conserve the lands and waters on which all life depends. Here in Indiana, we do that through a couple of things. It's a big goal, so we focus on a few things. One is to protect resilient lands and waters, and we work with partners to make that happen. And we're always in community working to make sure that people and nature are thriving together. Wetlands are kind of like nature's sponge. They take rainwater and they can store it for us, and they add a huge amount of biodiverse habitat. You might see ducks and turtles and salamanders. You might see lots of frogs living there. And if it's a temporary wetland, they might pop up and live there for a little bit and then go somewhere else where there's a new wetland. So it's a way to both store water and reduce flooding, but also provide lots of habitat for a ton of different species. So wetlands are a critical part of our state, and they're something that we're very passionate about. We love to muck about in them and take care of them here with the Nature Conservancy. So one of the things we like to think about is how can we make large macro habitats? How can we create a large area that is one protected zone? So the Nature Conservancy does that a lot in the northern part of Indiana where there's a lot of wetlands. And we do that through focusing on buying and protecting land that is adjacent to other properties that we already own. And that creates a bigger site for lots of habitat. So that contiguous habitat is something we think is really important and look for when we are protecting land. Earth Day is every day. Thank you for saying that. I do appreciate it because that's absolutely what TNC is all about. And one thing that we're working on this spring, we're coming out of hibernation. People are looking for things to do. Winter was cold and long, and we have lots of events on the calendar. And some of those are volunteer events, and some of those are social. Get out, connect with people, learn a little bit, have fun in nature together. So we have lots of guided hikes, bird watching opportunities, but upcoming next week, we have a few weed wrangles, which are service events. One is at Cedar Bluffs, and that's a nature preserve near Bloomington. And that focuses on removing invasive species from that woodland. Invasive species, they can crowd out our beloved native plants and kind of reduce habitat overall, so something we're not excited about. And volunteers don't need any experience. You can come out, get your hands dirty, pull out some bad stuff, see some good things, and then take a guided walk to the top of the bluff. So it's an exciting way to learn, give back, and also just get your hands dirty and see that impact. New businesses, a great thing to think about is building in time off for your employees to go volunteer. So that's kind of called like volunteer time off. And it's sort of similar to vacation time. You're able to go take a couple hours here and there, give back, and your business supports that. Another thing to think about is considering corporate giving. As a private nonprofit, we absolutely rely on donations from our individuals, our members, as well as our corporate partners. That's something to explore. And one other thing is simply to think about, how can I reduce my energy consumption as a business? That's got the bottom line also kind of benefit, but also enables you to be promoting sustainable practices. So one thing you can do is follow us on social media and subscribe to our monthly newsletter. Our beloved Chip Sutton, our marketing manager, puts together a great set of information about what we've got going on across the state. What kind of conservation initiatives have we been working on, big milestones and accomplishments. Sharing that with your friends and family is a huge thing that's very important. We're all about spreading the word and kind of elevating the mission of conservation. I think that our program is about two big things. Passion. Our staff are so passionate. We don't show up because we have to, we show up because we want to be here. We care about nature. We understand it's the climate crisis, the biodiversity crisis. It's the most important work of our lifetimes. So we show up because we care, and our volunteers see that and they reflect it right back to us. So there's this passion, this deep excitement and just personal motivation to get the work done. But another thing that warms my heart is the connection piece. People are really connected to where they live. They're connected to their local nature area. They're connected to the trail behind their workplace. And that connection piece really motivates me, and anything I can do to support it.
Up next, an update on the annual Innovation Showcase from the Venture Club of Indiana. That's next on Access to Capital.
Every business is unique, and every business has a target audience. Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble to reach a customer base that spans the globe. Pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. No matter the size of your business, put Circulus Digital Media to work for you and get results.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. This year's annual Innovation Showcase from the Venture Club of Indiana is coming up June 5th. Includes a pitch competition, speakers, and networking opportunities connecting the best in entrepreneurship and technology across the state. We were there last year and spoke with Travis Stegemoller, the Vice President of the Venture Club of Indiana. He shared the club's history and some tips on accessing capital from the venture capital side of the table.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to Capital.
Yes, my name is Travis Stegemoller. I'm a Vice President here at the Venture Club of Indiana. In my day job, I'm a General Counsel for a venture firm named Generator. And I've been with Venture Club of Indiana for over 9 years now. I've served on the board of the directors for 9 years. So when the club first started in 1984, it was quite literally the first venture club in all of the United States. And venture, investing as an industry has evolved a lot since that time, and the club has also evolved to cater to the venture industry as well. But it was originally formed as quite literally an investment club, a small group of folks in central Indiana that were looking to invest in small businesses that had high growth potential. And since then, it's maintained that spirit, but has been expanded to include a lot more of the venture ecosystem, not just the investment component of it. The mission of the club is to connect entrepreneurs to capital. I mean, this particular event today is where capital meets innovation. So our organization makes various opportunities available to entrepreneurs to get in front of investors who have capital in order to fund their businesses for scale. Our board of directors is primarily made up of venture capitalists from all over the state, not just in Indianapolis, but all four corners of the state. We're represented as well from universities that have venture funds as part of their mission as well. So in addition to what you see today here at the Innovation Showcase, we have monthly events for our members, content to help educate them on various challenges or strategies that might be useful for them as they make their journey from what might be a solo founder, small business, high growth opportunity, or maybe they're a team of 12 at this point. But whatever they need to go from very small to all the way scaled up, and producing a lot of great outcomes for themselves in the state of Indiana. We're here to help provide that. Founders, particularly first-time founders and even small business owners, sometimes don't even know where they're supposed to be. Sometimes they feel like they might not be allowed to be there. And our organization is open to all that are seeking that journey to, start a company and scale it. And so we're very, very intentional about making sure that we can empower founders to find the resources that they need. Capital is just one.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome again to This Week in Business on Business Equity and Opportunities. Granfalloon is an annual festival in Bloomington, showcases art, ideas, and music, playing off a famous quote by Hoosier author Kurt Vonnegut in his novel Cat's Cradle. Business Equity and Opportunities visited the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library to talk with the curator, LaFave, to see how he's been preparing for the long celebration and what you should expect to see in his exhibition.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
My name is LaFave. I'm the curator of the Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library here in Indianapolis. I've been here since January 2011 when we opened our original home. In 2019, we moved into our permanent home here on Indiana Avenue. A three-story building filled with exhibits based on the book Slaughterhouse-Five, freedom of expression, something that Kurt felt very passionately about. We got a Kurt and Jazz exhibit, all kinds of cool stuff here at our museum. We run programs with veterans. It's called Healing Through the Humanities, because Kurt was born on Armistice Day. He was very proud to be connected to such a peace-related holiday. We have anti-banned book activities, especially during Banned Book Week, which is the last week of September. We always have writers, artists, activists living in our museum as a protest against censorship during that time frame. We've got a collection of books that have been challenged at one point or another. We build a makeshift prison wall out of it. It's all kinds of chaos. It's a lot of fun. And then Kurt Vonnegut was passionately anti-war, and we try to be as involved in that as we can. I think he was funny about subject matters that are not funny. I'll give you an example. In 2007, when I was living in Chicago and the economy tanked, I read Cat's Cradle, and I thought, here is this really funny book about religion, weaponry, and the end of the world. And I was reading tons of books at the time, so it's not like it was unusual for me to read a book, but it was unusual for me to read a book about something horrifying, like all of my friends not having stable employment or employment at all in some cases. And it was capable of being so funny about it and so relaxing. And the result of that was a feeling of feeling less alone, I think. And I was like, wow, that's a real gift that this man gave to the world with his books. We've been partners with Granfalloon this entire time. I think my first one was in 2018, don't quote me, but we've built exhibits for the festival down in Bloomington. We love them dearly. And so this year we're gonna have a Cat's Cradle exhibit up here at the museum. We've got Cat's Cradle translated into other languages with really neat covers. The covers are always different, and I really love that. And then, of course, we've got reviews of Cat's Cradle written in magazines from 1963 and what have you. We have the notes, or the diary, actually, of Kurt's aunt and uncle, his Uncle Alex and his aunt, talking about how Jane Cox, Kurt's wife, came to visit Indianapolis once, and how Kurt's aunt and Jane walked around bookstores looking for Cat's Cradle, and then I think they bought a copy with the intention of calling the bookstore and saying, hey, can you get another one in stock, which was common for the Vonneguts back then. And so I'm just really excited to show all that stuff off, starting in June to go with the meat of the festival, yeah. I don't think you can miss with the arts and humanities. Vonnegut himself, the progressive rock band Ambrosia in the 1970s, used lyrics from Cat's Cradle in one of their songs. And Kurt Vonnegut wrote them a letter saying that music is the only art worth a damn. And I think he meant that very sincerely, and a big part of Granfalloon is the music festival, but it's also the Bloomington Writers Conference. There's all kinds of cool arts and humanities stuff going on, and the arts and humanities by their very nature are diverse, so there's something for everybody. The band Ween, I remember reading a review of them, and the reviewer said there's something for everyone to love and something to annoy everyone. And I'm like, what a great description of the arts and humanities in general. You're gonna walk into some concerts and say, I can't stand this. concerts. You're going to walk into some concerts and be like, this changed my life. And that's true of books, it's true of painting, it's true of everything under the sun. There's something for everybody. Meeting people from all over the world, I mean, that's a privilege of a lifetime to get to talk about something you're passionate with people that you were never expecting to meet ever. And there's so much humor in meeting people from all over the world. You know, people come to Indianapolis and they say, hey, where should I go get food? Where should I go see live music? It's great to be able to brag about your city like that. It's great to learn about their cities. You know, it's an unbeatable high.
While Bloomington gets ready to kick off its summer art season with Granfalloons, Indianapolis is setting the stage for an entirely different kind of celebration. News is spreading that the city will play host to this year's Global Entrepreneurship Congress, June 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Indianapolis will become only the second American city to host the international event that brings the world to our doorstep. Emil Ekiyor has more on what that may mean to the state.
So the Global Entrepreneurship Congress, Indy is only the second U.S. city to ever host the event. So we see this as an opportunity to showcase Indianapolis or Indiana to the rest of the world. We think there's just huge opportunities here. There's a lot of things happening here in our city, and the whole world is coming here. So leveraging an event, one of the things that we're looking to do is create a better connection between Indiana and Sub-Saharan Africa. Some of the fastest growing economies are in Sub-Saharan Africa. Population Sub-Saharan Africa, probably 75% of the population is under 25, right? The growth areas in Sub-Saharan Africa jive with our growth areas: agriculture, advanced manufacturing, health. Those are things we do well. So how do we connect with Sub-Saharan Africa businesses, investors, government agencies? So we're doing that during the GEC. We're going to host a series of events during that week on the sidelines of GEC, so we can better introduce our guests to our local companies, local organizations. And the goal is, at the end of the week, we have clear line of sight on some great opportunities between Indiana entities and Sub-Saharan Africa entities, and continue to grow that.
Through Indy Biz Pass, you can find out more about the upcoming summit. You'll find a link on our website. Simple way to do that this hour is to follow the QR code. While you're there, look at the bottom of each page. Sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter. Up next this hour, Jane King has news on Indiana companies from the New York Stock Exchange.
This Week in Business is made possible by Indy Biz Pass.
It is going to be a rainy day ahead, so if you're heading outside, make sure that you grab your raincoats. It's going to be a wet one.
For the puddle jumper in all of us, Storm Track 8. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, time for our monthly check-in with Jane King and the latest news from the New York Stock Exchange.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Patients regularly taking Eli Lilly and Company's obesity shot Zepbound tend to keep the weight off for at least 3 years, with most regaining 5% or less of the pounds they shed. A company-funded study found patients at their lowest weight in just under 2 years on average. They gained roughly 3.7% of it back over the following 18 months. That's according to this analysis of 690 patients that will be presented next month at the European Congress on Obesity in Spain. Since keeping the lost weight off is a major challenge in treating obesity, doctors and patients want to know if the potency of the blockbuster drugs wanes over time. The findings suggest that the drugs like Zepbound work long-term when they're taken as directed. Well, General Motors plans to increase production of light-duty trucks at its Fort Wayne assembly plant after President Trump announced 25% tariffs on auto imports. GM CEO Mary Barra had hinted at the possibility of increasing the output of trucks in the U.S. during GM's January earnings call in response to tariffs. Automakers in the U.S. use a complicated supply chain integrated throughout North America, with production facilities in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. We'll expect to see farmers out across the southern half of Indiana over the next few weeks planting corn and soybeans. Northern Indiana may wait till the start of May. Planting season has been plagued with storms and cool weather. Temperatures have finally hit the 50-degree mark in southern Indiana. However, central and northern Indiana remains too cold. Well, Purdue University placed 12 academic programs in the top 10 of U.S. News & World Report's 2025 edition of its best graduate school rankings. Purdue's Engineering College jumped one spot to number 5, tied with Caltech in this survey. Purdue's Agriculture and Biological Engineering graduate program, jointly led by the Colleges of Agricultural and Engineering, earned a number 1 ranking for the 5th straight year. Industrial Engineering jumped to number 3 overall. That's the highest ranking since 2004. And Biomedical Engineering rocketed to number 5 among colleges without a medical school, its highest level in a decade. Well, President Donald Trump signed executive orders to boost coal production in his latest action that runs counter to global efforts to curb carbon emissions. Coal-burning plants generate less than 20% of U.S. electricity, a drop from 50% in 2000, that's according to the Energy Information Administration, as fracking and other drilling techniques have hiked production of natural gas. Growth in solar and wind has also cut coal use. And Salesforce is betting big on AI. In an exclusive interview with Payments, Gabriel Tao, Senior Vice President of Product Management at Salesforce, said the company is seeing robust demand for its data cloud services as enterprises realize they have to better organize their data to fully tap the power of AI. Since data is at the heart of successful artificial intelligence, Salesforce believes it can help companies organize their data so they can use AI more effectively. And finally, Tasting Table praising Steak and Shake milkshakes. Consistency and taste were the determining factors that the milkshake tester assessed to make this determination. The author writes that Steak and Shake's Oreo mint cookie shake uses real vanilla ice cream blended with Oreo cookie pieces and a cool mint syrup. From the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King.
Newsweek recently released its 2025 list of the most trustworthy companies in America based on an independent survey. 25,000 people. The research firm Statista looked at 700 companies across 23 different industries. A number of Indiana-based companies made the list, including 4 Industries in Elkhart, Old National Bank in Evansville, both Lilly and Delta Faucet in Indianapolis, Vera Bradley in Roanoke, and Atlas World Group in Evansville for the 3rd straight year. We'll put a list of all the Indiana companies and a link to the complete list in our newsletter. A reminder, if you have special moments you'd like to share with our audience, please let us know so we can let them know. Send us an email at beo@wishtv.com. Many are excited about a new collaboration with the National Association of Women Business Owners, the new Lim Studios, and Boss Ladies Magazine. Stories next.
Eight weeks, 37 classrooms, 825 students, more than 1 million minutes read, and only 1 champion. Congratulations to Miss Sharon Ashmore's 3rd grade class from Columbus Christian School, this year's I Love to Read winner.
They just started doing what they needed to do. Their scores went up, their NWAs went up, everything's gone up, and I think it had a lot to do with this challenge.
The I Love to Read Challenge, brought to you by the NCAA Readers Become Leaders, Rascals Fun Zone, and Wish TV. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Question for you: what happens when you combine the resources of NAWBO Indianapolis, Indie Boss Ladies Magazine, and a new creative hub to empower women entrepreneurs? Let's find the answer.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Running your business day to day.
I am Dr. Jamise Curtis Banks. I am the founder and CEO of Whatever It Takes Consulting. My company does organizational development, so that's strategic planning, leadership coaching, conflict resolution, team management, all of those kind of things from a value-based lens. So I am the president until June 17th of the Indianapolis chapter of the National Association of Women Business Owners. I serve on the executive committee for Dress for Success Indianapolis. I'm an educator by trade, and so I am on the Dean's Advisory Council in the College of Education for Butler University. And then I'm a grandma. That's a sort of service job too. Just how many ways can you enjoy the next generation? So actually, that came about when I served on a panel with Victoria and listened to her talk about the work that she does with her magazine, highlighting women, but also serving the community. And as I end my term as president, I really wanted to make an impact in the same way that she talked about on that panel. NABO Indianapolis will be 28 years old this summer, and we don't really have a historical record of all of the fabulous things that have happened, and so through Victoria's magazine we can do that. But we also have a foundation, and our foundation helps to support entrepreneurs. We give scholarships annually. It supports our programming, and so the second part of the work with the magazine is to raise money for the foundation. I think people don't recognize HR 5050 is only 50 years old. It's only been 50 years that women could actually get a credit card, be financed to own a business. And so I think having the voice, regardless of the time period, always having that voice. As women continue to grow businesses, start businesses, we support the economy in amazing ways that, again, also are not known, right? And so making sure that always we are speaking with that voice to give opportunity to the next generation coming, to women who are in transition, that we can all feel empowered to do those things we love. Because most female entrepreneurs are doing something they love. They started doing it because it's something they love. So empowering women to be able to dream and do those things that they love. So we, as I said, will be 28 years old this summer, and we reached out to our past presidents, amazing women like Billy Dragoo, Anne Hathaway, Carol Curran, Tammy Butler, who have served in the community, who have grown their businesses, who mentor and reach out and ask them to share their story. Going back to that, how do we empower people to live their dream? We also have a huge amount of programming that we do, and my mantra for my administration has been lift up, show up, speak up. And so we sought out women and programs that we've done that fit in each of those areas. So we have some really amazing stories to tell. So I am not a business person by trade. I never thought I'm an educator by trade. I never thought I would own a business. When I decided to do that, there were so many women who opened up doors for me, who mentored me, who directed me. And that is so essential, especially when you are just getting started, when you want to push for revenue and you may mission drift, right? It's important to have a village. That's one of the things when I do trainings that I talk with women about is how do you build a village around you? Because no one can do everything, but you can find someone that does everything that you need. And NABO is the kind of community where those women exist. So whether it's helping you with finances, helping you find a lawyer, helping you build a business plan, they're just amazing opportunities to collaborate, mentor, direct. And all I ask when I do those things with people is that you pay it forward. If each of us reaches out to someone else, then we will all grow in that ability to be effective and successful in our businesses. Other than my grandbaby, it is being able to pay that forward. My parents raised us with the saying, to those whom much is given, much is required. And I have been beyond blessed in my life. And so it makes me feel good to be able to share what I can give, building relationships, whatever that may be, with other women, so that they can then, again, do the things that they want to do, to be that model, that opportunity, but also to be frank. I think sometimes sometimes people think if you're the mentor, you're going to only say the good things. Oh, this is how wonderful it's going to be. But you have to be honest and transparent about the challenges, right? But be there to be a support. And so that's what makes me feel good at this point in my life, is that there are women who come to me, who want to hear from me, who want to have relationships with me, who want me to help them, because that means I'm making some difference for other people. And so that really at this point is what makes me feel good.
Between now and the June 16th release of the NAWBO Indie Boss Ladies magazine, we'll be sharing stories from some of the leading local women of business and the success stories they're building. Coming up next, we go inside the new WGU Learning Center, where technology and a passion for learning meet.
When severe weather hit, Wish TV meteorologists were your source for the most reliable forecast to keep you safe.
A tornado is tracking just south of Columbus.
All severe weather modes in play here.
Because when lightning strikes and tornadoes touch down, you don't just need forecast, you need answers.
It's a massive storm system.
It doesn't take very long for this to happen.
Watch the Storm Track 8 weather team here on Wish TV.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. This month, WGU opened its new Clinical Learning and Simulation Center in Indianapolis. Billed as a state-of-the-art facility offering exciting new technology to help nursing students prepare for real-world challenges. This week's Industry Focus looks at the passion and dedication of the teaching staff.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Hi, I'm Lisa Wagner. I'm State Director of the Pre-Licensure Nursing Program for the Central Region. And we are at the WGU Clinical Learning and Simulation Center here in Indianapolis, Indiana. The beginning of April 3rd, we had a ribbon cutting ceremony. We had the commissioner from the higher ed come and speak as well. But we really want to open up the facility to get ready to introduce our students into this wonderful learning environment. We wanted to create a safe space with high fidelity simulators that they can learn evidence-based practice and be successful and confident going into that clinical setting of all of our clinical affiliated partners throughout the state. So we have mid-level fidelity mannequins in our skills room. In our skills room, we teach students how to perform skills like inserting an IV catheter, inserting a Foley catheter. We want that skill set built, confidence built, so that they can take care of patients in the clinical setting. These mannequins, they have vital signs, so students can learn vital signs, hearing lung sounds, they cough, they puke, they do all kinds of neat, exciting things for the students so that they can learn. They'll listen to bowel sounds, and we can create like hypo or hyper bowel sounds and different things like that for them. So learn the skills, and then we have simulation rooms on the other side of the building, and in those we have one set up right now for a home health setting. So the patient is at home with oxygen, electric cigarette in his hand, and different things like that, so we can create that environment that the student's going to go into so that they have that confidence when they get in the real world to be able to accommodate and handle that setting. Absolutely. So we have a room set up with a mom that had just delivered. So we have a newborn, but it cries, it moves. We can make it go cyanotic. It has the blue lips and so forth. And then we have another room where we have a pediatric patient and it gets a nebulizer treatment, different things like that. And we have functioning O2, different things like that, so we can actually recreate that, what they're going to be experiencing, how to turn that on, what they're going to be doing in the hospital setting. Post-COVID, we really have recognized that we need nurses, we need them bad. Where there is a shortage, Indiana Hospital Association has projected we're going to need 5,000 new nurses by 2031. So WGU, we're committed to meeting that. So we have projected by 2028 we'll have 1,000 RN graduates out there in the workforce here for Indiana. So we're really excited to help on that drive and initiative. They reside here in Indiana. We do service a whole central region. So we have Indiana students, but we also have Michigan, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, and Virginia students that will actually be flying in to our facility 2 times throughout their program for the lab setting. The Indiana students will do their clinicals here in Indiana. We try to keep them within 60 miles of where they live, so that way for that clinical partner in that area, they're able to recruit them. So we're building that pipeline for our clinical partners. and keeping the students home, so that way it takes away some of those barriers of transportation, finances, and things like that. WGU is the answer. That's all I can say. So our students are non-traditional. A lot of them work full-time. We're really serving that underserved student or population that can't attend a brick and mortar setting that's so structured. Our didactic is all online, so they do it in the evenings after the kids go to bed, on the weekends, in between ball games, whatever they have going, they can do all that didactic work at their time, at their pace. Now the lab setting, they do come in person, but it's really nice to come in, they get to meet their fellow students and have that one-on-one personal connection still offered. They're learning together. We have clinical and lab instructors here available to give them pointers, to help check them off. And then in the clinical setting as well, we have clinical instructors that guide those students. But those students know when those labs are scheduled so that they can, accommodate, work their life around that. So we give them a very good work-life balance in doing that because they know dates ahead of time. We get great responses. We just had a program advisory committee meeting. We bring all of our clinical partners together every 6 months. We ask them, what are you seeing from our students? How's our program meeting your needs? And then how can we, develop things and change things to meet how the healthcare industry is changing, because it's ever changing and it's hard for people to survive. So we're getting that feedback, looking at our curriculum, making that cohesive so that we are producing those nurse-ready students for our partners out there. It takes a team and a village. We have to collaborate. The nurses at the bedside, they're worked hard, they're tired. So being able to have them take a student on doesn't always help in their workload and flow of things, but we have to work together. How can we make that? Because we need to turn out new nurses. So it's all about a partnership and working together. Where is that clinical partner at? How can we offset and bring in student nurses to learn at that same time and complement each other so that we're developing and making a dent in that workforce need? My why is changing students' lives and impacting the communities, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Love being a nurse. I've been a nurse for 27 years, and I can't imagine life any other way. But hearing from my students when they graduate, I hear wonderful stories all the time, but one that really touches me, it was like 3 or 4 months after she had graduated, and she goes, I just want you to know I signed a lease on my first apartment, and my children are no longer moving from couch to couch of my family members. And it's such a blessing. I just want to thank you and WGU for believing in me and giving me the platform. So that's my why. That's what it's all about.
According to the Indiana Hospital Association, Indiana is going to need an additional 5,000 nurses by 2031 to fill the projected demand. WGU's goal is to train and educate more than 1,000 new RNs from Indiana and other states around the region by 2028. The new Learning Center is a centerpiece of the plan to achieve that goal. Coming up this hour, we share a very special conversation with a U.S. Air Force veteran who spent her life in service to her country and her community. That's coming up in 90 seconds when Business Equity and Opportunities returns.
It's the first, the biggest. It's the All Indiana Sports App. Live scores, exclusive highlights, more coverage, more action. It's all here. I've been doing sports for over 25 years, and nothing comes close to this. The players, the fan, everybody needs this. Totally customized. You're in control. Your sports, your way. When you want it, how you want it. Download the All Indiana Sports App today.
Last month, Wish TV's Celebrating Women special featured a conversation with Dr. Dorothy Dottie Simpson-Taylor. She's an Air Force veteran, educator, counselor, woman of faith, and co-founder of the Sister Soldier Network that helps support female veterans as they make the move from military service back to civilian life. She's dedicated her entire life to service to others and serves up some soft-spoken inspiration on what makes a good community partner and citizen.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Success Story.
So I'm the oldest of 11 kids, the second oldest grandchild of 110 first cousins. So I literally have thousands of relatives, and that is no joke. When I was growing up, I would have to take care of, at 5 years old, I know I was taking care of 9 kids, and I would tell them children, I'm not getting your whooping. Do you understand? So everybody gonna straighten up and fly right. So I was prepared to take a leadership role from very as a young person, and really also because that's what number one children do. When I think about how one develops, you kind of do it on your journey. So by the time I was 12, it was like I was looking around and I was thinking about being this eldest and the second eldest, and I said I have got to take a path where the option is to be successful. I come from Waterloo, Iowa. I was born in Mississippi and raised in Waterloo. And watching my father and my mom would feed anybody, and Daddy just had such a gentle spirit about him that he just said, these are the ways that one be a human being. In order for people to be around you and feel comfortable and to emulate some of that just calmness in life, you have to demonstrate that first. You also have to be willing to participate with other people's lives and to enhance their lives, not by trying to be braggadocious or trying to manipulate. It's just that whenever they're going through something, all you have to do is say, it may not even need to say anything, but just to be there and to just participate and let them know that you're concerned and caring. And so I learned to be caring from that experience as well. And I learned also that it really does make a difference when you praise people and when you say, that's wonderful that you did that. And so I consider myself a very caring person because that's the way I was raised. I haven't swayed a long ways away from that. So the things that I do are just a matter of being a human being. So I think that everybody needs to sit on their own pot and do what they're supposed to do. And I have been persistent with that, and I try to practice that. And then I also do something called redemptive grace. I believe that everybody gets a second chance. That means me as well. Because sometimes I get in my own way, and then I say, okay, Dottie, you could have done it a little different. You're not the worst person in the world, but you could do it different next time. So that's kind of my mantra for living. I did the Air Force work, then I did the trauma work. I went to Alaska and was a high school counselor. And when I came back, I began to do more work with veterans. And when I was working at the Vet Center, I did group work with veterans, and I've lost three veterans to suicide. And there's something called suicide prevention and something called suicide postvention. I can talk about both of those areas, and I can also talk with families who've lost people and what that all means and how, because all we have is 3 square feet around us, and my circle intersects with your circle. And what I hope to be able to do is to help people understand my own place in my own circle. One of the things that we know is that every 40 seconds, someone is taking his or her life, and that is a tragedy. My 19 years before I'm 100, I'm, wanting to be able to help people to just see that it's called being a human being. So I have 19 years till I'm 100. And when I get to be 100, I'm gonna ask for 3 more just because I'm greedy. But the whole idea is that I have had my ups and downs. Life has had its ups and downs, and it ain't supposed to be no crystal stair, as I've said before. However, I must still be here for a reason. It doesn't have to be about me and my principles. It has to be about we and what we are going to do to be loving, caring human beings. I don't think that we get into a place or in conversations with people that say, I care often enough, or say, I hear you. As a therapist, I've told my clients before, it's okay to wallow on your face because there's a whole book in the Bible called Lamentations. But every now and then, you need to turn over on your back so that you can see that there's air and breath up there, and maybe as your head turns up, you get on your elbows and you can see life a little differently.
If you would like to hear more of our conversation with Dr. Dottie, it'll be available as part of this new feature that we're launching on this week's Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We'll share some of the extended conversations that are too long to fit this hour, but too good to go unheard. They'll be available every Tuesday as part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. You'll be able to find a direct link to those on our free newsletter that comes out every Tuesday. You can sign up for all of it on our website. Just follow the QR code. We will be back next week with more information to empower you and inspire you. A reminder, our show airs every Sunday free over the air on Wish TV and online at wishtv.com. We also post each of our 7 segments from this week and past episodes on our website. Thank you for spending the hour with us. Join us next week for more business equity and opportunities. Till then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great day.
Business, equity, and opportunities made possible by Fifth Third Bank, Indiana Black Expo, Gemco, IndyBiz Pass, Bose McKinney & Evans, Eskenazi Health, and Lilly, a medicine company.